Hey, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Just going to share my screen here. I'll get started in just a moment. I'll just give everybody a chance to get settled. Hey, Mustafa, how you doing? Yeah, I'm feeling fair. I'm not doing so well, but thank you for asking. Hopefully you've made some money over the last couple of days, Mustafa. I've just been destroying the markets. It's been amazing, amazing. All right, I'll just wait a little, give it another minute and then get started. So welcome to day 3 of my 4-day trade execution webinar series, kind of subtitled How to Capitalize on Monster Moves and Avoid the Market Traps. My name again is Mark Shawson, the Pattern Trader. I just think I should mention before we go on, you might see that I'm sitting in this room with a bed behind me. So I don't live in a studio apartment. I had surgery a couple of months ago on my ankle, and I can't walk very well, so I put a bed in my office. So if you see this thing, that's what's going on here. I would understand if you had any questions about it, but so I'm gonna, just get started. Let's see, we have about 64 people here, so welcome back. I'm just, been discussing the last couple of days on how I use price action, price patterns, and price action trends, to make just monster amounts of money in the market. Every day, I kind of like to show you what I've been doing, show you that it's real. I mean, I teach, but I'm a trader. I trade every day. I trade very actively. Whatever I'm telling you guys, believe me, I'm doing in spades. So when we started on Monday, these were my positions. I was long these puts in BYND. I invested about 19 grand. And as you'll see today, I sold them for about $3. I've made 500% of my money. I was also long these triple Q puts, which have lost me money. So people always say, well, you only show the wins. I show everything. Here's the 9 grand loss. This is a $28,000 loss that I've written off in Uber calls. And then I've been sitting with these QuantumScape put options. They went over $2 today. I bought them for 50 cents. So I made over 400% in those. I kind of blew everything out today. But I just want to show you. So, on Monday, this is what I was looking at. I was short Peloton. Peloton got nailed today. I was long mRNA, Moderna, and Moderna made a new high today. I've been short QuantumScape since almost $30, and today it hit $22.75. And also Upstart. So that was Monday's trades. And this was yesterday's trades, where I actually bought some put options on Delta Airlines because they were going to announce their earnings, and market went higher initially and then went lower. And I made about 3 grand on this $7,000 put option. So I made about 50%, blew those out today. And also had been short Zoom. Zoom was down $17 today. This was my big call yesterday and today was shorting Zoom. You can see the price was $377 yesterday. Today it hits $360. And I've been short a monster amount of Zoom, also short a monster amount of QuantumScape stock. And this is what it looked like today. So I've been quietly making, I think I've made about $1 million in the last 3 weeks. So you can see here's the BYND puts. I bought these puts when the stock was at $140, and today it went to $128. So my $19,000 went to $55,000. It actually went higher than that. It was actually higher than that. I blew it out for actually much more by the time I sold them. And QuantumScape puts went over $2, and then my stock went over 193,000. Here you can see I was short Zoom. I was making $50,000 just on today's trades. And I just blew everything out today. I had $640,000 in open profits. And even though Zoom's going to go lower, and I also short run. So I shorted RUN today. I shorted it at a price that wasn't even in the market. I shorted in the pre-open session at 54.14. And if you look at the high today in the market, it was 53.68. And so I blew half of it out, made $5,000, and then I had the other 10 grand here. So I just made a monster amount of money today. Just ridiculous. I mean, this doesn't reflect some of the trades that I closed out. I made a ridiculous amount. And then I did it, all the same in another account. So you can see I've been holding 30,000 shares short QuantumScape in this account. I had 2,500 shares short Zoom, was making 35 grand. And all told, I was up $341,000. So I had like $650,000 in open profits, and that doesn't include all the stuff that I've closed out. And so I've had a fun couple of days. And all the things that I've been talking to you about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let me see if Pete just sent me. Yeah, so he was supposed to send me, my partner was supposed to send me my trades. So Mustafa says, amazing how you read the markets, you're short Zoom. So, I was saying on our morning session, the boiler room, which, I think you've gotten a link to if you want to sign up. Every morning I open up and I said, Zoom I see 5 bearish chart patterns on Zoom. And, went just short a monster amount this morning and yesterday on Zoom. We were talking about this yesterday. So here's we were talking about these ascending broadening triangles and the key reversals and, everything. And so I've been, there's 5 different bear price patterns on Zoom. In addition to just the long-term chart is lower, even though we've had this, this rise over the last, to me, this is just a bounce in a bear market. You can see that we've actually been coming down from $588 to $360 now. It's actually in a downtrend, and it all started with this double top over here. You had a double top here, and now you have 5 different chart patterns here. Well, or you have a number of things going on. You have this funky looking double top here, even though they're not at even places. Then you have these key reversal price action where the market actually points to where it wants to go. At the all-time high, it made a new high. By the end of the day, close on the low, indicating the sellers were in control. Then right here, it made a new high, close at the low. So those 2 bars really stood out to me. So I used this high yesterday as insurance. So I shorted into this at $382. And, today we hit 360. And this thing is, not done from going lower. So you had the double top here. You kind of have this head and shoulders, kind of a mini head and shoulders here where you have the mini head and shoulders. So that's 2. And then you had both the short and long-term ascending broadening price patterns where I described this yesterday. Ascending broadening is the market's going up during the pattern. It starts out narrow and then broadens out at the top. So you have a short-term ascending broadening, and then you also have a long-term ascending broadening that's going on here. And you can see that we poked through both of them. We close underneath the lower support line here. So to my mind, I know where this thing is going. It's going right back to where it started. I don't even have to think about it. So 280. And so what I can imagine tomorrow is that typically when you break out of these things, the market, gets all excited, keeps breaking. And then, I'd love to see like a retest of this and then it finally capitulate. So, but whatever happens, I think that Zoom goes a lot lower. I mean, you have the key reversal, you have the double top, you have the head and shoulders, you have the ascending broadening, And all of this is coming together. And so this is a perfect storm. And so Zoom is going to zoom lower. A lot of these tech stocks are, even though the NASDAQ is making new highs today or what have you, you can't be deluded by what the indexes are doing, because the indexes are held up by 5 stocks: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Microsoft. So whatever the indexes are doing, they're masking the destruction that's going on. Sorry, I delayed the webinar, by the way. So thank you for showing up late. So Aaron says, did you short Zoom as a hedge because that's the platform you? Yeah, so I find it pretty ironic that I use Zoom to do everything with my business, and then I'm telling you guys to short the stock. And look, I'm only doing what I'm seeing on the charts. I don't try and think emotionally. I don't have a loyalty to a stock. Or there was a whole discussion yesterday. Somebody said, I don't like shorting because it feels disloyal, or it feels immoral. So there is no morality or immorality. It doesn't really come into it. These are just vehicles, right? Everything is just a vehicle. It's a vessel to take you from one place to the other. You want to make money. So we're trying to use these instruments to figure out how to make money. And so we're not thinking about, their utility to society and what have you. Yes, it facilitates my business. It's a great product, but it's trading at $360. And so if the market says, hey, it's only worth 180, it doesn't detract from the product, right? So ultimately, a business has to be valued on what it's worth. A business is the present value of its future cash flows. And so when you see, crap like been going on in GameStop and Amazon and AMC, eventually physics have to kick in. The business is only worth what it's worth. This was a dinosaur business, the AMC movie theaters, before COVID. So now COVID, with all the streaming and everything, is not going to make this thing better. So this is going back to $5 from where it came from. It just, went into this dislocation. So, just because, I like to go see movies, and I hope they don't go out of business because I like to go to the movie theaters, but it doesn't mean that this is worth $20 billion when, they have an upside down balance sheet. So these are just vehicles. These are instruments that we look at to make money when they're going up and to make money when they're going down. Buy it when it's going up and sell it where it's going down. That's all. That's all. I don't care what this is. I don't care if it's corn, natural gas, cocoa futures. If you can see a way to make money, that's what these vehicles are for. End of the story. So a lot of people saying, how do you select these stocks? How do you find these stocks? I find them all over the place. I'll put a screener in, one of the sites that I look at is this website here. So it literally says this is a screener. So you can go to the exchange, NASDAQ, and then you can look up any industry you want, semiconductors. And then I just go through all of the charts here and start finding a chart that, I like, to buy or sell. So I just go here and just scroll through until I can find things. Let me just put this in the chat box here. One of the other things I do is I screen for company earnings. So yesterday, Delta Airlines was going to publish earnings this morning before the market opening. So I checked out Delta Airlines, and I showed you that I was long the, where is it? Did I close them out? Yeah, probably close it out before. So I closed out a whole bunch of trades today you don't even see. So I was long the Delta Airlines Let me see if I can find it. Is it here? No. No, I'd already closed it out. So you'll just have to take my word. I bought it and I blew it out for 50% of what I paid for it. It was somewhere here. I thought I saw it. Anyhow, so basically I look at the, I kind of see the companies that are going to announce earnings, and then I go to the price chart and, to my mind, I didn't know what Delta was going to announce. Actually, it was better than expected earnings. You can see, so the stock actually went higher this morning after the earnings, but I just presumed based on this whole chart that it didn't matter that they even expected, posted better than expected earnings. The market still went lower. Why? Because the chart right here told me it was. So you can see the double top, the head and shoulders. We had broken the neckline here. And so yesterday, I knew, kind of bought these puts right there. A put is a bet on the decline of a stock. And then, I was wrong. The market opened a bunch higher, and I lost like half of my money. And then by the end of the day, I made 50% of my money. And I could have held on. This thing looks like it's going to keep going lower, but I just bought it for that one-time kind of push just to have a little fun. But you can see I had no insight as to what the earnings were. And even if I did, I probably would have bought it, went long because the earnings were better than expected. But this chart told me that it's in a very negative pattern. So I use the earnings just to push things as a catalyst to push things where they're going to go anyways. And so, I just bet on, Delta Airlines, just had some fun. I should have put a lot more on there, but that's fine. And so I told you that I also bought put options on Beyond Meat last Friday. So before the weekend, which is a little unusual, just because I thought that the way it closed on the weekly, that this thing was I think this thing is going to crack lower. I think this will be a $50 stock. I've said this for a long time. BYND, I've just made a ton, buying and selling it. I actually made $1 million right here, buying it right there and selling it right there in 3 days. But to me, this whole chart pattern is inherently very bearish. This looks like a giant M top, and it's sitting on this neckline. And if it returns back to 113, to me, it's not a question of if, but when. To my mind, then it will just project down there. I think that this stock is just going to get punished. So you can see that we failed up here. So we have the double top here that's kind of telling me that this thing's going lower. Then you have this key reversal, made a new high, close on the low. And so last week, when it kind of closed on the low here, I said, you know what, this thing is gonna, poop the bed. It's just gonna go straight down. So when the stock was trading at 140, I bought the 130 put options for like, I don't know, 50 or 60 cents. And today I blew them out for $3. I made 600% on my money on that move. And, I think it's going to go a lot lower. It's just the options expire on Friday. If this thing goes up one day, tomorrow just, wipes, because I bought the 130 puts. So, even if this thing goes up $1.50, I lose everything, so I had $100,000. I was making 100 grand in these put options. And if this thing goes up $1.50 tomorrow and stays there, I'd lose 100 grand. So even though I think this is going lower, I just cleaned house. I got rid of everything today. I just, cleaned house, but I still think everything is going a lot lower, so that if this thing, peaks up tomorrow, $3-4, you can sell into that, because I think it's going lower. All these things are going lower. QuantumScape, everything. So now this stock run. So this is what I do in the boiler room. So these are pre-market sessions where the boiler room it starts at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is a half hour before the regular stock market opens in the United States. And what I try and do is I try and, sell selling, into strength. So if I'm looking to short something, I look for a higher opening. And if I look for something that I want to buy, I look for a lower opening. And sometimes you can get extraordinary opportunities. I'm going to show you something here. So let me show you run. Let me get to, it's a little smaller. So you can see this ticker symbol here, RUN, closed at $48.70, down 8.5% today. So you can see the high was at 53.67 in the regular session. So I'm going to show you something. Let me go to, I have to open up my broker station here for a minute. So in the pre-market session, in front of, 60 people who were in that boiler room group we just started about a week ago. I don't know if anybody on this webinar is in my boiler room. Maybe you can concur what I'm saying here. Let me just go here. I'm trying to find this trade that I did today. So this might blow your mind. It kind of blows mine. And I said to people in the boiler room that, I got the high price. I got a price that you won't even see in the regular market. Here it is. Is there anybody on this webinar that's in my morning session, the boiler room, to kind of corroborate what I'm saying? Where is it? Right here. I try to sell 15,000 shares and they only gave me 3,700. So here is, so this I did in the pre-market session. This was before the regular market opened. You can see extended hours in the AM. I try to sell 15,000 at a limit of 54.10 or whatever it was. And they gave me 3,733 shares at 54.14. I had a limit of 54.05. So I was trying to sell short 15,000 of these things. Here's the ticker symbol. I was trying to sell short. So once again, I want you to just look at this number here, 54.14. It doesn't even exist today. I got a price higher than the high of the day. So you can see here is run. The high was 53.63 in the regular session. I said to those on the I said, you're not going to see that high. I knew the way I got filled. So this is what I do. If you want to join the boiler room, we look at stocks before they even open. And I very often do transactions before the stock even opens to get a jump on what's going to happen. And so I got it, short at 54. This thing closed at 49. So I made whatever, 10% today on, and then I shorted, more. I shorted like 10,000 shares or something. I made, I don't know, 50, 60 grand in this stock today. So Richard, the elite member is different than the boiler room. Richard says, how do I trade these stocks? I've only ever traded Forex. You just open up a stockbroker account wherever you are in the world. I don't know who your stock. So sometimes people just don't have access to the stocks I trade. If you go through Interactive Brokers, they're an international broker firm. I don't have an affiliation. I don't endorse them. They don't endorse me. So don't hold me responsible, but they're, highly reputable. They're all over the world. It's called Interactive Brokers. I'll just type it. And so you need to sign up for a broker account to trade a lot of these stocks. So Aaron says, on that trade run, did you put in a stop loss in the pre-market? What would happen if it gapped up and you were exposed? So, this is my philosophy, is that I use the market structure to assess my risk. So to me, I talk exactly about risk. So to me, I don't just do things in a vacuum. I look at the entire context. So you can see this giant double top here. So this right here told me this is the governing price pattern. This tells me over time what the trajectory of prices are going to be. It's not to say that prices can't go up, right? It's just on balance. I think, they will be going down. So I'm always looking out for those opportunity where it's going to go back in its main trend, which is lower. So you can see right here, you had this very nice double top. And what I look for in these patterns is corroborating evidence. In addition to the pattern, I want to see what I call these key reversals. Made a new high, close on the low. So just like Zoom, despite the fact that it went to a new high on this day, the sellers were in control by the end of the day. And then at the same level, they try to push it higher, and by the end of the day, it closed lower. So the combination of this double top and these key reversals told me it was over. And I was saying to those in the boiler room here, I said, I'm just looking for an opportunity to sell this thing. It's like it came down here, it futzed around for a couple of days, and I was waiting for the market to tell me when it was going to turn down. And then yesterday, made a new high, closed on the low, and that told me now this is my risk. So if I'm going to get any increment higher, you can see that it opened just slightly higher than where it closed. And so even in the pre-market, I said, I want to just sell this anywhere because these guys told me that it's over. This thing is going this way. And so once I understand something, then, to me, it's not a risk to sell into a higher opening. In fact, it's a less of a risk because if my stop loss is here, and let's say, I want to put, you could do both. You could put an entry sell stop right under the low and catch it there, in which case your risk is this big. But if I catch it, a little higher, then my risk is that big. It's smaller risk, but at least I know where my risk is. So that's the whole key to trading. If you can understand what your risk is, then where this thing goes, in what time frame, how it gets there, that part's the unknown. But I knew that this is not going to get taken out. So once I know something's not going to go up, it has to do what? It has to go the other way. And so I just basically started shorting this thing in the pre-market and got filled at a price that it doesn't even exist in the live session. So Marcus says, can I join from Norway? You can join from anywhere. How do I join the boy? Let me just ask my partner. They're all confused because I started this thing late. I'll try and get you a link. So I just look at a combination, and this is a perfect example. Pattern, direction, price action, trade execution. It's a layered, a systematic trading methodology that actually has some scientific validity behind it. When you see these patterns, it basically tells you that the market goes in that direction for at least 100 days. So now here's another double top. And so basically, I think we're going to take out these lows. How can I know that? I don't have any inside information to it, but the picture tells me. This whole picture, let me peel out the weekly. So this is all I look at, by the way. You'll see there's no volume, there's no moving averages, there's no indicators. But what you'll notice is that this is not a 15-minute chart or an hour chart. This is a weekly chart. Each one of these price bars is 1 week in time. And this picture is all I need to make millions of dollars, literally. Here's your double top right here. That's really bad. Let me do this better. So makes one peak, collapses, retests, and now you've got this M top here. So it doesn't matter that this, is substantially below here. One of the peaks can be higher, one it can be lower, but I think we can all agree when we step back and look at this, that is an M top. That is a reversal. That is a double top. And what this means, it's a reversal. And so what it says is that leading up to this, the market was going higher. And now that this reversal has been confirmed here, it's going to do what? It's going to go lower. And basically, since that was confirmed at 70, we're now trading at 50. We're whatever, 40% lower already. And I suspect we're going to be a good deal lower over time. So to me, that this is all I need in the market to make just a ton of money, is just a picture like this. And in addition to this double top, you now have this head and shoulders, which looks like just like a man or woman's head and shoulders. So this whole thing is just telling me that this is all distribution. This is people just getting out over a long period of time and handing it over to the suckers who want to pay and buy this thing on a story. I think Morgan Stanley or one of the brokers really recently recommended this, and everybody's getting excited. Morgan Stanley or somebody recommended, and to me, it's just a sucker's play. Some analyst recommended Beyond Meat that would go to $188. And right now you're $128 and going to be 60. So these analysts are just morons. So you can see here's kind of the top. And so now, there's a lot of kind of noise in this area that it's got to cut through. So it's not going to be, that easy, but it's going lower. And then once it kind of cuts under this neckline, which it's basically at, that tells you that this thing is just going to go a lot lower. And then, how do you calculate it? Basically, the size of this from what? 50 to 100. Let's say you take, 75% of that. That's $30. Shave it off here. And this is a $15 stock. So Deborah says, how far would you go out and put? I was going to buy the out of the money put options today. And I was so busy selling the stock, I was really upset because I was going to buy the 50 puts today, and they were trading at about 240. I'll go crazy now when I see what they probably are trading now. So I was looking at that play today. The 50, how is that possible? They went up. Oh, they went up $1.50. They went up 428% today. I think I was looking at next month. Yeah, I was looking at the 50s. Yeah. I was looking at them at 250 and they went up $1.80 today. So these go off the board on Friday. So you've only got 2 trading days left. So it's a little bit of a thing here. So basically we're trading at $48. So the 45 puts are trading at 265s. I would probably look at the 40s, or even the way this is going to come down, probably even the 50s for August 20. So you have like a month. I would buy these August 35s for 50 cents. So now each option is based on 100 shares of the underlying. So it's 50 cents times 100. So it's $50 for an option to sell short 100 shares at a $35 strike price. And so this is what I would do. This is what I did in Beyond Meat. I bought it $10 out of the money last week, and it went to, I don't know, how do I get out of this thing? Let me see what these, I just got out of them today. I bought them at like 60 cents, the 130 puts, and they went to $3.45. So 7 times your money, or 6 times your money. I made 600% on my money. And I probably should have stayed in them. I mean, this thing looks like it's going to collapse, but I was making 100 grand in them. I didn't want it to disappear. So, if this stock goes up, $1, $1.50 by Friday, this will go to 0. So it's a bit of a game of chicken with these options, but I think Beyond Meat's in a free fall and it's going to just go much lower. So I'm going to, probably into any kind of rally now. I got out of the 130s and now I'll probably look at, the 120s for next week or something. So this is what I try and, I just leg in and leg out. So I pay 60 cents for something. It goes to 360. I make 600-700% of my money. I get out of those. And then I get into the ones, I just ladder into them. So the 120s for next week are, Still pretty expensive, 150. So I might actually look at the 115s for 80. Not a lot of volume there. So, you know, I just hope that we get a bit of a rally tomorrow. So these 80-cent options go to whatever, 60 cents. And I'll just buy those for next week. Deborah says, I really did well and beyond from your suggestion on the paper trade. Otherwise, I would have made a bit more. So Richard said, I love your simple price pattern without any indicators. I can see it. Let's see. So Mahantesh, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Mahantesh says, what are your next favorites? So, you know, what I do is I have a big board, and then every day I try and keep it focused to what I'm looking at for that day. So I don't, have 1,000 things. So, all of these, can be, so I've been buying Moderna. Moderna made a new high today. I bought this thing on the market open or pre-market open 2 days ago at 216. So this is how I use, if you join the boiler room, you'll see how I use pre-open market activity. So I bought, you can see that Moderna was down $11 in this day, and then it was going to open this left slash mark is where it opened. So I knew in the pre-market that this thing was going to open $5-6 later, lower, after being down $11. Now, I didn't just arbitrarily decide that. This whole thing is an uptrend. There's many patterns that I was looking at. And so this was like a fire sale. So let me see if I can find that buy. It's so many days ago. I don't know if Myrna. I like to always corroborate what I'm saying because there's so much BS in this industry. Where is this thing? Myrna. Right. Trying to find it. Here it is. So I bought 3,000 shares right at the low of the day. So I bought 1,000 shares at 226,000. And then I bought 2,000 shares at 217. No. It was 216. I bought 1,000 here. I bought some at 216 too. Let me just see where that is. Here it is. Yeah. So I bought 2,000 shares at 217 and another 900 shares, because that's all they would give me. I tried to buy 2,000 and they gave me 900 at the low of the day. So I bought a total of about 3,000 shares between 216 and I tried to buy 2,000. They only gave me 1,096 in the pre-hour. So you can see I bought some at 216 and 217, and that was the low of the day right there. And now it's trading at 247. So that trade made me 3,000 shares times 30 bucks, 100 grand in 2 days in Moderna. So to me, I was looking at this long-term chart pattern, which you can't really see here, is long-term consolidation here. It broke out. I think we talked about this the other day. It retested this thing, put on a double bottom here. And then, when it kind of goes above the high of the, of the retest, now this is confirmed. Now this is going to keep going and making new highs here. So there was no mystery, but so the market kind of gave me a gift. So when the market comes off like this, if you're looking at this on a 10-minute chart and it looks like just a monster downtrend now, you want to get short and then wonder why it's back in your face 2 minutes later. But to me, I just saw this as a huge opportunity and started buying, 3,000 shares, 216, 217 right there. And 10 minutes later, right after the market opened, it was trading at 232. Within a half hour, I'd made whatever, 16 times 3, $48,000. And then the next day you had an inside bar. I bought into this downdraft and then bought above here and bought everywhere. And now you made a new high. And this thing is just going to keep on going and making new highs. So KV says, do you only trade options with stocks? Yeah, I don't really do FX options or commodities options. I don't really trade anything else. I used to trade commodities. I was a commodities licensed broker for 20 some odd years. But, I got my hands full with stocks and FX. Let me see. Okay, so here's the link to the Boiler Room. My partner just sent it to me. If you guys want to sign up, here's the link. I just put it in the chat box. But thank you for asking, for those of you who asked. Let's see, Deborah says, how much do you pay attention to volume and the number of puts or calls? So I only look at volume from, a capacity to, I don't want to, go into something where it's only traded 10 contracts. So I like trading something where there's volume, not because I look at the volume to make my decision, but when I see, there's 7,000, at a certain level, then I know I can, I can put my 100, contracts or 500 contracts or whatever. The market can, accommodate me. So I just look at, things that have, liquidity. I love trading the indexes, which are the triple Qs. So I love trading puts and calls in the triple Qs. I actually bought some puts today, and I just dumped out of everything. I was just making so much money. It just was giving me a headache. And I know all of this stuff is going to go lower. So I'm going to regret getting out of the stuff that I got out today. I'll just have to try and buy a little. I'll try and just have to leg it a little higher tomorrow. I love Zoom on the downside. It's, closed about a little higher than where it, so I'll probably put on my Zoom positions tomorrow. I just wanted to clear the decks and clear my head, but these things are going a lot lower. So KV says, from where I cannot trade options or sell to open market with those stocks you're mentioning. Yeah, sometimes that's the drawback, but what I really try and do through the pattern trader is educate. So it's not really designed as a signal system or what have you. It's like to enlighten you as to how to use price action so that, if you learn something there, whatever you're trading, wherever you are, you can apply that. But, whatever you want to do. I don't need to do this stuff. And do I get bored getting the market so absolutely? So sometimes it does seem kind of weird. I've been in these, I've just been on an amazing tear since January. Mustafa has been, part of our Boiler Room and part of my elite program. And he's been, seeing some of my trades. So I would completely understand if I'm sitting on this thing, this guy's sitting late at night, if he's making all this money, why is he doing this? And, I've been trading for 4+ decades now. And, it's making money. It's not even about the money anymore. I know that sounds really trite and stupid, but I really enjoy just the challenge. I enjoy beating the market. I enjoy kind of seeing stuff and then seeing it happen. And it, translates to money, fine. I don't spend money anymore. I'm not in a position to. My body's all broken. So it doesn't even matter anymore. And I've really gotten to a point in my life where I don't really look for things for gratification. If I just had my health and could go and play tennis, I'd give all of this money back tomorrow. So for those of you who kind of, are thinking this amazing and you wish I had, if you've got your health, you've got everything. Believe me. So Daniel, I don't know what the price is. Just see the link, and I don't control any of that stuff. Deborah says, when I see the volume is a lot higher than the open interest in option, I've read it. So Deborah, I don't try and look at indicators like volume to read into things. All I look at is this. To me, the options are a derivative, right? They are a derivative of the underlying instrument. So, you know, in order to understand where, you know, why did I choose Beyond Meat? Because I saw that there was a setup that was going to translate to a big move, right? So you can see that this thing is failing. It's got this head and shoulders with this drooping neckline, which is very bearish. So and I'll just look at this little picture right here, and this is all I need. So this is BYND. So, you know, the way I use options is I kind of say, well, what is happening in the underlying? What is happening in this derivative? So you can see that this has got a head and shoulders with a drooping neckline. You know, it's not horizontal because this shoulder is higher than this shoulder. So it creates this downsloping neckline. So all this means is that a head and shoulders is very bearish, but by virtue of this drooping neckline, it means it's going to go down even faster. So once I kind of have a feel for what's going on in the underlying, and I, you know, bought these options right back there when the stock was at 140, I had to have a feeling of where it was going to go, and that it had to go there in a rather speedy time frame. So I don't really use any sophisticated delta, theta, gamma, you know, analysis for options. To me, all options do is they represent what's, you know, going to happen in the underlying. And so I'll only buy a put and call if I feel like something is going to do something and do it very quickly. And then it comes down to just getting a feel for cheap versus not cheap. So, you know, Zoom is a very high volatility stock. It's got a high beta, means that it moves relative to the market. So the options price historically has been very, very high. So more often than not, I just short the stock of Zoom, even though it's at $400, rather than buying the option. You will receive a recording, yes. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I am done. Health is wealth. It is. So this is basically what I do. I look at, you know, chart patterns. So yesterday I sent out an email to those on our list to short the Japanese, the euro versus the yen. Where is that? There. So where's this email? And today so here it is. So this was yesterday's email to put a sell stop in the euro versus the Japanese yen. I said it's admittedly an early call. You know, sometimes I just see these things setting up and you get a feeling. Euro yen appears in the process of forming a double top. Today's key reversal. So the sell stop was to sell at 130.17. I don't even know where it is right now. It's right there. So it really hasn't done anything since yesterday. Basically in right here. So trying to probe the short side of the euro yen, even though there's a bit of a support level here. So this is a kind of a tricky one. I mean, it's kind of a double top there. And this whole thing looks like it's kind of a top. Again, these tops, they can look quirky, they can look unconventional, but if you step back, you know, to me, this, you know, has the appearance of one of these. And so it could certainly bounce around here quite a bit before it goes. I wouldn't rule it out. But, you know, again, I see the pattern, I see the direction. Then yesterday I saw this key reversal, made a new high, closed on the low, sent out an email and said, just short it right there at 130.17. And, you know, it's right there right now. So we'll see what happens. And then tonight I sent out an email saying, you know, try shorting the pound yen. You know, it's not diversified. Both trades are going to go in the same direction. So pound yen seems like it's starting to lose steam up here, but this could be definitely an early call. And, you know, we'll see, you know, what this looks like. But you have these two reversals. So this is a lot like QuantumScape when it was at 30 bucks, when I shorted at 30 bucks 2 weeks ago, it had these double reversals here right around this. So to my mind, this tells me that, this is my risk. I'm going to just probe it out here. This will be my risk. And if I'm right, this thing could really open up a huge move lower. So again, it's all about understanding risk. And I would just put very small risk on these trades. I show you how to use a calculator. I'd take a 0.5% bet, try that out, see if it works. It doesn't, you lose a 0.5% and go and find another trade. But right now, I really like trading the stocks. I see them pretty clearly, and they're going for big moves. And I've been spending just a lot of my time just spending trading these stocks. So I'll go wherever the action is. So Daniel says, can we expect a lift and run before entering a short? So I made a lot of money today. I got in right at a high that doesn't even exist. And I think run is going to go much lower. I'm kind of really upset. I got out of Zoom today. I got out of run today. And then I had puts in Beyond Meat, which I understand because, puts expire, they can lose value very quickly. So to me, run is just starting. I would sell into any strength tomorrow. You have this triple top here, these key reversal. You're not going to see prices above here. You're just not going to see, those levels taken out. So you've kind of got this, kind of interim double top. And now you've closed right under the neckline, which is simply a line that's drawn through the pattern. You can see we closed here. And so I would use any movement tomorrow to sell into that. $2, $3, 50 cents, because this is coming down. Even if it kind of moves higher tomorrow and does one of these, I think eventually it's coming down. So I sold short in at a price that doesn't even exist, above the high today. And I just got out right here and made, all of that today. So I'll see, but I want to be short this. To me, this is going to be like QuantumScape, where it's just going to keep going lower. So this is going to be probably my new QuantumScape. Every rally of QuantumScape, I shorted and made a living at it. Thanks, Munira. I appreciate it. Deborah says, would you talk about Tesla and do I trade it? I trade everything. I love trading Tesla. It just, absorbs a lot of my money, ties up a lot of capital. But, obviously it's worth it if it goes down 20 bucks in a day. It was in so many things. I was in QuantumScape and so many things over the last couple of weeks that, you can't dance at all the weddings. Everything looks like it's coming down because I think rates are eventually going to, go up. The Fed is going to start having to tighten, and these stocks that have no revenues or revenues pushed way into the future, like Peloton and Zoom and Beyond Meat, they're just going to get killed. So they're going to be the first pawns that are going to get sacrificed through the gate once this Fed ratcheting starts up. So to me, I think we talked about Tesla early in the week. Looks like one big descending triangle. And we're just at the top now. We hit the upper high here. We've got a nice double top here. And then you've got these key reversals. Made a new high, closing the low, made a new high. So this told me yesterday that you were coming down. And, I would have just shorted into a higher opening and on. But I was in everything today. Short run, short Zoom, short Beyond Meat, short QuantumScape, short Delta Airlines. I think Tesla is going to come down, and this whole thing has the feeling, of a top. And if you see this at 610, then the next level is 550, and then the next level is there. And I don't think that's going to be an exaggeration. So Deborah, I think that, Tesla is going down, and I'd use any up move to sell into it. And that's what I do in the boiler room, is that I kind of determine where these levels are. And then like today, where I see this key reversal yesterday. So that to me tells me where the risk is. So if I can short it here, I've got a much narrower level to my risk than if I shorted it, below the low. Either one is fine. But you can see how if you short into an upward momentum, that you have a leg up, you know, and then you've got all of that. So this is kind of what I do in the morning session. Look for opportunities like this. And, you know, I like Moderna, I buy into a lower opening if I think something's going up, and sell into a higher opening if I think something's going down. And I just use that energy. You're welcome, Deborah. What is UC? Daniel, you're talking about UC, not quite sure what. Is that dollar Swiss? Not sure what you're. Shandi says, thanks, Mark, for your time to learn and make it so easy. Thank you, Shandi. Good to see you. Femi says, can you close out any of the call or put contracts before? Yeah. Yeah, I called out. I closed all of my puts in QuantumScape and my puts in Beyond Meat today because they close on Friday. But, you know, you can wait till 4 o'clock on Friday to close any of the puts and calls. So it's just like anything else. They trade all the time. They're very active. It's just that, you know, any little move, you know, so Beyond Meat closed at 128. I had the 130 puts. So let's say this thing goes up, you know, $2 over the next 2 days. Those things would expire worthless. And so I would have lost between what I put up to pay for them and my profits. I would have lost 150 grand if this stock just goes up $2 in the next 2 days. So you can see how, you know, I didn't really want to risk it, even though I think that this thing's going to get murdered. So now what I'll do is I'll just maybe wait for a higher opening tomorrow and then buy the lower down call puts for the following week. And so I'll ladder into it, make 600%, get out of them, look for the lower strike, you know, and take some money off the table. So dollar CAD. I was long dollar CAD today, but had too short a stop. What did dollar CAD do? Yeah, so kind of looks like you have this cup and handle going on in dollar CAD. And today you had a key reversal, which indicates that there's some support. So this looks like a rounding bottom or a cup and a handle. And so, you know, we're trading right around the neckline here. And then yesterday's key reversal. So this should be, if you want to test the long side, that's where your risk is. So this one's a little tricky. It's still in a bit of a downtrend here. Not really trading these dollar pairs just because they're so really kind of range bound. This is in a long-term downtrend, but we found some support. I actually was short at 125, got out right at 120, you know, because I saw this bottom here, but also if you scroll back here, you can see this is where all the support is. So you can see right back here, this is where all the support was. So that was where my take profit was. So I was shorting on this key reversal here at 124, got out at 120, made 400 pips over 3 weeks, got out. Now it's kind of hard to tell what this thing wants to do. It may want to turn around here. It looks like it's starting to break this trend line. You can see we're just starting to break this downtrend line. And, you know, we've kind of got this rounding bottom kind of in. So I don't know. I don't have a good feeling one way or another about this. The dollar pairs have, you know, been tough. I made my money, you know, on dollar going weak against dollar CAD, and I've kind of left it alone since then, to tell you the truth. I'm keeping an eye on dollar yen. This is the one pair that I think is going to cough up an opportunity in the, you know, not too distant future. This is the one pair that I've made a fortune on also. If you've been on any of my webinars for years, you've heard me say that dollar yen is, you know, going to go lower. So dollar yen has been trading within this descending triangle. It had a lot of bear patterns actually preceding that. And, you know, this kind of looks like a bull trap where it snuck above this resistance line and trapped those people. And if it starts, you know, heading back into this geography in this zip code of this thing, then, you know, I know where it's going to go. And if it goes there again, it's going to go a lot lower. So this looks like it's setting up great. This week we have an inside weak bar, which is just one of these coils. Now we've still got 2 days left to go, so we'll see how this is, going to finish out. But if this is how it looked on Friday and you just had this coil, this to me is just building energy. And what I would do is just place a sell stop, underneath this weekly low somewhere and let the market catch me and put me into what could be a terrific trade. And then, it offers you a great risk, way of calculating your risk. So you put your entry there, you put your stop loss here. So this is my risk, and that's literally my reward, because that's where it's going to go if it goes down there. You can see that it's touched. It's like kind of Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat hit this 113 area so many times that it had to eventually go through, which it did. And then it formed a trap like Beyond Meat, and then Beyond Meat looks like it's coming down this way, and so does the dollar yen. So whenever you hit this level so many times, that does not provide for a sustainable move. To my mind, you're going to come back and retest it. And if you come back for the 12th time, you're not going to stop there. So I think there's just a tremendous opportunity brewing for these yen pairs. So we'll see what happens. So Jim, I put the link to join the boiler room. Let me just put it there again if you didn't see it. I'll put it in the chat box here. So there's the link. What is your thoughts on Uber and Lyft? So I made a lot of money earlier this year in Lyft, and now it kind of looks like it's running out of steam. Uber and Lyft, all these tech stocks look like they're just going to get pummeled. They look like, so this was a double bottom that I bought, here and here. And now this whole thing's got a look of a double top, and it looks like it's going to get sent all the way back here again. So this is Lyft, the weekly, and Uber, starting to look heavy too. So I'm very bearish on all of these tech stocks. I think we've got a big tsunami coming, and these tech stocks are just going to get hammered. Uber looks like it's looking very heavy here, meaning that it looks like it's going to roll over. I thought this key reversal and this key reversal, it was going to go higher. I bought these calls. You can see that I'm getting wasted on these call options. I basically lost 30 grand on these Uber calls, buying it, last week, based on this key reversal, and then it just failed. So you win some, you lose some. But I like to be transparent. In the week that I lost 30 grand in that, I made 650 grand and other stuff. So that's what it's all about, right? It's letting your winners eclipse your losers. So it doesn't matter how many losers you have. One winner can eclipse, 100 losers. So, this is starting to look kind of, there was like a reverse triangle going on here. And it broke out of that. And that was basically your sign. And then this is what I'm talking about with Zoom, where like Zoom's breaking out today. Sometimes you break out and then you retest. And then it's on those retests that the failure then really kicks in. So this thing looks like it's failing. And so now, it's probably a lot of money to be made on the downside. So everything's a short. I mean, it's like, I don't know where to turn. I just, want to short everything. Run, Zoom, Peloton, name it. The things you want to stay long on are Apple, Microsoft, Google. So those are what are keeping the indexes up. And those are still good stocks. But those are real companies trading at 30 multiples where, Peloton, has no revenues and trading at a 800, multiple. So big difference when Snow was nice today. Yeah, Snow, Airbnb, Dash, you could send all of them. So Jim, I'm not sure. Send an email to support at the Pattern Trader. And Somebody should get back to you, Jim. Sorry about that. Emmy, I don't know what you mean by the last trade. So Deborah says, do you have another service beside the boiler room? Yeah, we have many. We have the master pattern, we started calling it something else now. It's master pattern trade. Every Friday, I do these sessions where I go into live and I analyze these things. We have the weekly accelerator, where it's my, I give you my video report, my weekly email. So we have a lot of things, Deborah. You can check out our website, which is thepatterntrader.com. Check that out. Kassaw says, I'm happy attending. Yes, they say I shorted AMC and cut my losses. Yeah, so I shorted GameStop today, GME. I also shorted this and got out of this today, and I should have stayed in it. This thing's going to collapse too. It's finally going to come back to earth. So all of these things, they had their run and it's all over now. So I shorted this today, made a nice 10 bucks. I probably should have stayed in it. And so it's all going to collapse. It's all going to collapse. Upstart is falling. Everything is falling. So everything, looks like it's, in the meantime, the NASDAQ's on the all-time high. So that just tells you what a deception it is. Deborah says, do you ever buy leaps? I've thought about it, but I haven't. I don't know, I haven't. I was going to do some things. Actually, thankfully, I didn't. I was going to buy some long-term leaps on Netflix. And thank God I didn't do it. Yeah, so Netflix is going strong. I think it's going to go into earnings. So some stocks are going up and, the others are going down. So I try and buy things that are going up and sell things that are going down. So Moderna is going up. You need to buy that. Netflix looks like it's going to be like Amazon. Looks like it's going to break through all of these highs. You could probably buy that before the earnings. I'm not sure what you're saying, Deborah. Some stuff, it says the underground trader sessions. I joined everything. My account went up from 7,000 pounds to 29,000 pounds since I joined Mark, became an elite January 21. So that's awesome, Mustafa. I'm glad you're doing so well. Thank you for being such a great supporter. Kassaw says, any reason for the majority of stocks drowning? So I never look at the whys. I never look at the reasons, but if you want a fancy reason, it's basically most of this market has been floated by liquidity and stimulus by the punch bowl of the U.S. Federal Reserve. And now when the punch bowl, gets withdrawn, you're going to see all of these high multiple stocks. So these are, pre-revenue companies. So Zoom is a great company, but its future earnings are way off into the future. So the way a stock is valued is based on the present value of its future cash flows. I'm trying to see what their PE is. It's 124. So you can see it's got a multiple of 124, whereas Facebook's got a multiple of 30. So, so this is going to have decelerating cash flows, right? Because all of the money was made in the pandemic when everybody was stuck at home. Now the year-over-year comparison, as the economy starts opening and normalizing, people go back to work, they use Zoom less. A, revenues are going to go down, and B, the interest rates are going to go up. So when you have to discount the future cash flows using a higher rate and discounting it back to the present, it results in a huge multiple compression. So this PE ratio can go from 124 to 60, and 60 is still a high, but that means the stock gets cut in half. So there are plenty of reasons why, but all the reasons that you need are right here in front of you. I can give you all the fancy garbage speak you want, but I never look at the reasons why. Why will only get you into trouble. Why, if this thing's going down, then why did it, stop here and then go up? Whys don't matter. I just play what the market's telling me. When it reversed here, I said we're going to get a very tradable bottom here. Tradable meaning that it's going to go up a bit, but the long term I think is lower. So it went from 288 to 400. So I made a lot of money on the upside, and now I'm going to make a lot of money on the downside. And the why this thing is doing whatever it's going to do is secondary to me. Emmy says, how do I learn the basic of trading a stock? So you can see that I trade everything the same way. So whether this says Zoom or the Euro Yen, I just look at that picture. If this was corn, if this was natural gas, crude oil, I would look at it exactly the same. So understanding is not a requirement, and it's kind of counterintuitive. I just look at price patterns and price action. And, to me, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So I don't need to understand the balance sheet of Zoom. I don't need to understand the multiples of Zoom. I don't need to understand anything. All I understand is that it has a huge double top here and that this stock is over. It has another double top here. So it told me it was over there. Now you had this, I think what's going to be called a dead cat bounce, where basically all you did was rally to the breakout area, and now you're going to collapse again. So I think this stock a year from now will be there based on a picture. I have no clue what the prospects are, what the money is, if they're going to merge with somebody. The market is just telling me that this is looking ugly. Kiara says, I'm so happy to be in this webinar. I learned a lot during your webinar. So thank you for that. If you guys wouldn't mind, because we get so many people who bash us because they're trying to draft our traffic, steal you guys by telling you what a bad guy I am. So, I would really appreciate sharing your experience. If you could put a review, I would really appreciate it. You can say I had a bad experience and say why. And if you said you had a good experience, just, elaborate on it. Don't say it was just great. Try and put something that, tells others. And I'd really appreciate that. Mahantesh says, wonderful stuff. You're the best teacher. So, when I started, doing this online business, all I knew about was trading. I never studied how to give a webinar. I still never have. I just kind of try and communicate what I see. Sometimes I know it's difficult because it's a very visual thing. And, to me, it seems so, I've been staring at these charts for so long that it seems very intuitive, but then I realize it's not. A lot of people just don't see what I see. So, I think I take a lot for granted. So if you tell me that there were any shortcomings, there were certain things that, was not explained well, I'll learn from that. And I would appreciate whatever feedback you have. Hey, Sean, didn't know you were on this thing. Thanks, Sean says, great mentor. And so thanks, Sean, I appreciate it. So Sean is in our Friday sessions. So Graham says, thanks, great insight. All right, so Mahantesh says, I'm a doctor by profession. I like to draw diagrams to educate patients, and that's what you do. So Mahantesh, I wish I had you as a doctor. I've had so many health problems and been to so many doctors in the United States. This has become just I can't even explain. I tried to consult a doctor in Arizona. Before I even met with them, they sent me a link to pay $500 for a telehealth conference. So it's just become a terrible business. I think insurance and just become very corrupt. And I haven't met too many doctors in this country that I have much respect for anymore. So it's just amazing. If you do that for your patients, it's awesome. Because doctors here have no time for their patients. They're just being pushed by the insurance companies. You literally get 7 minutes of their time. So Sean says, we're the best in Canada. I believe it. Mohammed says, what is going to happen to pound New Zealand? You know, that's a good question. I really thought pound New Zealand would run. So I guess New Zealand announced that they were going to be the first to abandon quantitative easing, which obviously gave strength to the New Zealand dollar. And you have what's looking like a bad weekly reversal here. But every time this thing looks bad, it's managed to put itself back together again. This one, don't know about this one. I'm long, and I may just have to dump all of my longs, but yeah. You know, I just felt like these patterns, that this pattern will find a way, but you know, this is starting to look, I've learned to respect these reversals. So not quite sure. You've got so many reversals here that, so the way I look at these reversals is then I watch to see how the market respects it, meaning that, you know, if the market starts, you know, coming off from here, then it's going to start looking really real. But if somehow the market kind of puts itself back together again and just, you know, doesn't respect it, then that also gives me a very high confidence. So basically, I would put your stop right under this low and then reevaluate. So that key reversal should hold it. If it's good, it should, you know, kind of hold it. And if it's not, then this thing could, you know, start dumping off here. But every time this thing has looked bad, it's found a way to put itself back together again. So I still think the long-term patterns indicate this is going higher, but certainly not good price action this week. You can see that even in the monthly. So when something looks really ambivalent in the short time, then, you know, I go to the even the longest time. So this is a monthly chart. And I mean, this is in a long-term downtrend, right? But you've got so much, you know, support here that now I have to say to myself, okay, if this looks like a short, you know, can I see prices doing this? Coming through all of this price action, and I really can't. So every time this thing looks scary, it's actually just worked out to be a buying opportunity. But, you know, there's a small little trend line here, and, you know, I think we're almost, so this thing can even bump a little lower to whatever that is and still hold this up, you know, upper thing. So this looks scary here. It sold off big time and then it just came back. So this could be just another one of those things on the way to a launching pad. So it's, you know, it looks scary every single time. So we'll have to see. I would probably give it to, if it broke last week's low, then I'd say, you know, probably not such a hot thing anymore. So let's just see how it respects this area. So that's why I really haven't been trading a lot of currencies right now, because they're chuck and jive, where stocks, they move from one level to the other, where, you know, currencies are just locked up in these trading ranges. And I like things that, you know, move. So last week's low is around 193.80 or so, 194. So I'd say I would just give it to Lynn, and then, but even when I just look at this thing, you know, just like this still stands out to me. This double bottom visually, that just tells me that's still governing this price action. So yes, this does look like a double top up here, but it also looked like a double top here before it put itself back together again. So it's probably a buying opportunity. I'm still long, but, you know, I'm prepared to be surprised. Your thoughts on oil? Okay, I'll leave it there. So this is my partner, Peter. He's in the boiler room. He has about a 90,000 pound account, and we just started trading 2 weeks ago. And I think he's up to almost 100. No, he started with 80,000. And I think he's almost up to 100,000 now. So he's made about 20%. So this is what we bought or sold in these morning sessions: AVAV, Moderna long, Peloton short, Beyond Meat short, Zoom Communications short. And he's up, you know, 8,500 pounds on a $80,000 account. So he's up like 10%. just in these batch of trades. And then we've closed out a whole bunch of trades. So I think he's gone from 80 to almost 100,000 pounds since we started the boiler room just 2 weeks ago. So this morning thing, this boiler room just started out as an experiment. I think people generally like it. I'm doing it anyways. So I'm just sharing what I'm doing, during that morning session. So if you guys want to check it out, then, I sent you the link. So I'll look at oil and then I'll say goodnight for tonight. It's been a kind of a long day. Where's oil? So oil's been on a big bad, uptrend. Path of least resistance is higher. You can see that there's a lot of resistance in this area. So all these key reversals, I've learned to kind of respect these areas where the market gets pushed back. So this is just a huge distribution area. So now, I kind of just watch how this area plays. So this still looks like the governing pattern. It's a, weird looking double bottom, even though the one bottom's a lot higher, but this is what's been guiding this market. So you can see how this pattern has guided you to that. So independently, whatever you do now, this pattern, from $40 to, 70, you could have just hopped aboard a big trend. And so this is obviously a distribution area, a multi-year. So now it's not surprising that when you come here that you have a little, so now it's, just watch to see if, prices just play around here. And if they play nice and they just consolidate, they go nowhere. And this could be weeks and weeks and weeks, but they don't go down. And then it starts coming up. Then you know that it's just laying the foundation for another move higher. On the other hand, this could be, laying the reeds for, a move lower. So starting to look like a mini ascending broadening thing right here. So, it could just hold here and go that way, or if it, starts breaking, then it's likely to come back to the beginning around 65. So yeah, he sent me for all sessions. So yeah, he started out at about 80,000 and he's now 94,000. So that's my partner Peter's personal account from, so let's see what he said. He says, I started on 88,000 3 weeks ago. It's at, he's just typing to me right now. He started at 80,000 3 weeks ago and said 94,000. And in that period of time, I've probably made about 7 figures. So Richard says, Mark Shawson is very unusual. I've spent so much money on many courses. I've been so confused with all the magic indicators that so many other traders recommend that Mark doesn't use. He simply uses price action. That is the way that price moves and what patterns it creates as it moves. This is because if you can learn to recognize these patterns and understand what they mean, which direction then tell you price is likely, then you will have the edge that everyone is looking for. That's the best way I can describe it. I hope I'm right, Mark. So that's basically right. So Richard, if you wouldn't mind just putting that, cut and paste that in the review website, I would appreciate it. I'm gonna, again, just if you wouldn't mind just putting this thing in there, this, this review, I would really appreciate it. So Kamante says, I've been trading on a demo with only free information and made $3,000 within a few hours. So Dakin says, thanks tomorrow. Thanks, Mark. Looking forward to tomorrow coming out of the fog. So I cleaned out all of my positions. I'll probably put some of them back and we'll see. All right, guys, have a great evening and I'll see you tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Take care.